the Council Journal of Sri Lanka and his colleagues. A very big round of applause, please. Our beautiful Pimpri-Chinchwad University, formed by Pimpri-Chinchwad Education Trust, is all about learn, grow and achieve. Now may I request our Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajiv Bhagwat sir, to kindly introduce our university to all the distinguished guests and the guests. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Ruchuma. Thanks a lot. Honorable Chief Guest of the day, Dr. Walson, Vipodi. Dignitaries from the Sri Lankan government, Vice Chancellor in charge, Professor Manimalapuri Madam, HODs, faculty members, and dear students. It's indeed a great pleasure, a moment of pride for all of us, that today we have such a learned council here among us to interact with you. So give a big round of applause for our Just to brief about the university, sir, I tell you that Pimpri-Chinchwad University was basically an idea year ago. And within this year, this university has taken place, and we are finding around 1,200 students studying this university and around 100 teachers imparting education to them. Is really the hard work of last 6 months, wherein the visionaries have given their 100% in terms of materializing this dream into reality. We all, the students especially, are very curious, very inquisitive, very hard workers, having dreams in their eyes for their bright future, looking forward to get some insight from the great learners and the teachers like you. I tell you that we are running 6 schools here: the School of Engineering, the School of Management, the School of Science, the School of Liberal Arts, School of Pharmacy. And in these 6 schools, you are seeing just 1/4 of the entire gathering here. The students who are sitting here are having certain questions pertaining to the internationalization of their education, pertaining to the knowledge of our strongest ally, Sri Lanka, what exactly Sri Lankan students are studying and where are they heading. We all know that Sri Lanka has been the strongest ally for India, and we have been together in every odd and things. We have joined hands for new collaborations. We have joined hands for the safety and security of each other. And the same feeling, same idea, same thought is here, that we are here on this platform today for the benefit of both the countries' students, the students of India as well as the students of Sri Lanka. Give a big round of applause to this talk. As we started this university, it carries a legacy of 32 years. 32 years of academic rigor, 32 years of vision, 32 years of hard work of the visionaries like Shankara B. Patil, Dhaneshwari Landwe, Garade sir, Kalbho sir, our very own Girish Desai sir. And these people have churned out the cream from the academic arena and brought these people here as the faculty members to teach to these students. 32 years of big name, big fame, big reputation has converted into this university with an idea of benefiting maximum number of students. Because when you are running the affiliated colleges, there is a limitation of numbers. You cannot deliver quality to the masses. When it comes to the university, you have the option of delivering it to the masses so that the maximum numbers could be benefited. The idea has been materialized, has taken. हम कहते हैं हिंदी में मूर्त रूप ले लिया इस विचार. It was initially a thought which has come to this ground reality today. These students coming from Pan India, we have students from every corner of the country, sir. Though we are situated in a small place like Talegaon or the smaller place like Sate, around 30 kilometers away from Pune, but students you will find here from UP, from Bihar, from Jharkhand, from Madhya Pradesh, from Haryana, from Punjab, from Rajasthan. You'll find students from Himachal. You'll find students from Dubai, Abu Dhabi. You'll find students from every corner of India. Nepal as well. So this is what I feel is the trust. This is what I feel is the faith of their parents, the students who believe in the name of PCU. The idea is that we want to bring this university at a level where we can compete with the top-notch universities of country and abroad. We want to make it a research-oriented university. And the idea is that we should have the research-focused faculty members as well. We are fortunate that we have faculty members from the big research organizations like Bhabha Atomic Research Centers as well. We have faculty members who have got 40 to 50 papers published in Scopus Index, ABC, ABDC, Web of Science. Very rich faculty members having experience from 5 years to 35 years. We have professor of practice as well. And we, from the very first day, have implemented the new education policy in the system. The entire education methodology, pedagogy is as per the government norms. And we are imparting the quality education by inviting researchers, scientists, and big professors from the big names like IITs and IIMs. For as of now, the biggest chunk here is in engineering. We are running BTech CSE, BTech AIML, BTech Data Science. We are running MBA International, MBA General. We are running BBA programs. We are running programs like PCA, programs like MCA, BSc Cyber Security. We are running programs like BSc in Nutritional Science and Dietetics. We are running programs like Clinical Psychology. And we are running programs like DPharm and DPharm. The next step which we have taken is we are planning to run the law programs as well, and probably by next year, next admission session, we'll get the approval from Government Bar Council of India, and we'll be running the BA, LLB and 3 years LLB programs. So this is what is the growth of the university. I tell you, within 5 years, we have plans to have all sort of programs such as nanofabric, fibers. We have programs such as virology in the mind, and these all programs are going to take place in this university very soon. I invite you to PCU to interact with my students, to tell them about your vision, your idea of education, what is expected from my students at the global platform, what exactly you feel, where the education system of Sri Lanka is heading towards, what exactly is the expectations of Sri Lankan students from your government, and my students will answer your questions if we have certain, and my students, if they have certain questions, they are free to ask from such a learned personality here about your queries. I welcome you, madam, and the entire staff from Sri Lanka to PCU. Thank you very much for giving us time. Thanks a lot, sir. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Dhanyawad.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Rajiv to kindly honor Honorable Dr. Valsan Rathodi with Puneri Padma. Big round of applause, please. I also request Dr. Manimala Purikatu to felicitate our chief guest for today's program, Dr. Valsan, with memento as well as bouquet. I request Manimala Madam to also felicitate His Excellency Better Half. A big round of applause, please. I request Manimala Madam to felicitate His Excellency better half, Mrs. Anita Wilson Vidhuri, with a token of love from our side. I request Dr. Raji to kindly felicitate Mrs. Shirani, the Council Commercial. Please, Madam. Madam Akansha Shah, please, Executive Assistant to the Council General, kindly come on the stage, please. Madam Akansha Shah. She is Executive Assistant to the Council General. Things wouldn't have been possible without these two. Mrs. Surashri, the visa assistant, kindly come up. I request Sir and Madam to felicitate her, please. And also Mr. Subramanian. Thank you so much. Kindly be seated. It's a matter of pride for me to introduce His Excellency Dr. Wilson Vidhuri, who has served the government of Sri Lanka for many years in the capacity of Special Assistant to the Prime Minister, Advisor to the Minister of Tourism and Leader of the Opposition, Deputy High Commissioner in Madras, Ambassador in Abu Dhabi and in Sweden. He is currently the Council General for Sri Lanka and Mumbai. While serving in Sweden, he was also accredited to Norway, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Academically, he holds a doctorate in Human Resources Development, a master's degree in Business Administration, and a bachelor's degree in Commerce, and had done all his schooling in a remote village in Kerala, India. It's a matter of honor for our university to have you with us, sir. And now may I request that if you can share your learnings, experience, and inspire our students on the topic Inspiring the Youth. Please, sir. And welcome him with applause. Little louder, please.
Morning. I don't know whether it is good afternoon or good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Dr. Manimala Puri, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajiv Bharadwaj, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. D.N. Singh, Registrar, faculties and students. In fact, when Mr. Sahil Vasalekar, your university's advisor on international relations, asked me whether I can have an interactive session with the students, I told him definitely yes, I would love to. Especially with Indian students, I know that they are very bright, very intelligent, and also in the interactive session. My experience has been, they ask very intelligent, smart questions, and normally used to make my life miserable. But then he told me, then he asked me whether you can speak on philosophy for inspiring the futuristic youth. I was slightly puzzled. In fact, I was, slightly worried, right? Because I thought that it's a very complex subject. Inspiration I can understand. I'm sure that all of you must be getting regular doses of inspiration from your parents, from your teachers, from your friends, TV channels, and all the lifestyle magazines. Even I used to inspire my son. Right? I used to give him regular doses of 500 milligrams of, inspiration to my son on a day-to-day basis. But now he started inspiring me. So that is the youth. Right? But when it comes to the other three elements, like the philosophy, futuristic, and the youth, I thought that it is highly complex. Right? First of all, when it comes to futuristic, I don't think, I belong to that sort of a generation. I'm not as futuristic as, Mr. Vaslekar thinks. And because I'm a very, very simple, uneducated man. Why I say uneducated? Because I feel that the moment you consider yourself as educated, your intellectual curiosity becomes stagnant and you don't go after new avenues of education. So I always prefer to remain as an uneducated man. At least that is what my mother thought about me. For my mother, I have always been a grown-up kid, uneducated grown-up kid. But on the other hand, my father was very proud of my academic qualifications. Right? And he used to boast about it. Right? But just because you have some academic qualifications, I don't think it is advisable to consider ourselves as educated. Right? Education is a perpetual process. It is an ongoing process until our last days in this earth. Right? We have to continue with our education. Moreover, when it comes to the futuristic thing, I belong to an old generation and I belong to an ecosystem where human emotions and human emotional bondages, and the collective social convictions still play a major role in our civilizational existence. Therefore, it is difficult for a person like me to visualize the futuristic context where every aspect of our existence would be presumably under the command of technology and would be robotic in nature. However, having witnessed the rapid technological progress for the last few decades and its minimal impact on the human compulsions, values and virtues, my old generational uneducated perceptions realized the limitations of the technological impact on the basic human compulsions. This is because these compulsions are nothing but the basic metaphysical and existential compulsions on which our survival syndrome and the day-to-day civilizational agonies and excesses revolves around. Therefore, as long as we continue to remain as humans, these compulsions also would continue to remain as the same. This is where the role of philosophy comes. But then again, the topic becomes complicated because both youth as well as philosophy are complex. Right? Both, even now I can't understand it. Right? Though I have gone through that process of youthfulness. Right? Philosophy, that it's a practice nearly as old as humanity itself, and so much so very much civilizational oriented. Yet, it's not empirical in the true sense, and to that extent, many questions remain unanswered, and accordingly, the interpretations of philosophy vary from person to person and more distinctly from religion to religion. Philosophy has three elements, that is metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. Metaphysics is the fundamental study of reality. For Hindus, it is the Brahman, the single primary reality which manifests in different forms. But for the Semitic religions, it is the God, nothing but God, who does the creation. Epistemology is the theory of knowledge. For Hindus, it is the thousands of years of transcendental knowledge of the rishis. For the Semitic religions, it is the God's revelations through the prophets. Ethics is a Western concept, and it's normally do's and don'ts in commandment forms, scripted by the scriptures like the Bible and Quran. But for Hindus, there is no commandments. They follow only dharma, based on the cosmic laws that influences the compulsions of our life. These compulsions, our life compulsions, our existential compulsions, or our civilizational compulsions, are broadly classified as the Purusharthic compulsions of Kama, the desire, Artha, the material comfort, Dharma, the virtuousness, and Moksha, the emancipation. But in reality, these compulsions are entangled with each other and consequently makes every human action dilemmatic, as every action is driven by these entangled compulsions. These dilemmas will certainly affect the harmonization of our humanness and finally our sense of dharma. In other words, in a broader colonized sense, your sense of ethics will be affected. Therefore, to somewhat dharmic in our life, we have to harmonize our desires, material pursuits, actions, and virtues. Dear friends, I don't have to tell you, I don't have to remind you that the dharma or the ethics is the most fundamental basis of humanity for our civilizational existence. First of all, you have to be a human in the real sense, to be inspired, to attain success, and finally the tranquility every human aspires for. I know that it's much more complex than I try to explain, as these dilemmas can vary from individual to individual and from situation to situation. When it comes to the youth, unlike our generation, the circumstantial interpretations and applications of these dilemmas become even more complex as their hormonal and emotional vicissitudes are quite turbulent. This is nothing new. This has been happening generation after generation, and we call it generation gap. This emotional turbulence takes place because they are in a period of transition from the dependence of childhood to the independence of adulthood. This is the period during which they are treated like a child as well as like an adult, and consequently their psyche is subjected to the agonies and ecstasies of the dependence as well as interdependence. Their body goes through innumerable hormonal changes. They crave for social recognition from the peer group, and their aspirational ambition, responsibility, self-esteem, and apprehensions begin to niggle their conscience. The overall impact of this transition could be quite confusing and would inevitably create a transitionary identity crisis, which would make them feel threatened, anxious, and self-conscious, and their Purusharthic dilemmas get much more complicated. The ecosystem they belong to, they are not, the ecosystem is not going to be helpful. And the ecosystem you are living will make it worse. You know, it is by creating a sort of cultural schizophrenia, by adding an overdose of traditions in an atmosphere of globalization, and by creating a morality syndrome, by advising them to embrace modernity while reminding traditional morality from time to time, and by creating an alienation psychosis by not understanding them and without giving them enough space, and by creating an inferiority or a superiority complex by comparing them with others, and by making them lose their confidence, by not allowing to make decisions on their own, and by pushing them into social hierarchies based on numerical rankings on their academic, intellectual, artistic, sports and other skills. The cumulative effect of this transitionary process is the accumulation of a sort of muddled, egocentric perceptions and the consequent result-related anxieties. Friends, I wish to emphasize the fact that the worst predicament a youth can be burdened with are the egocentric perceptions and result-related anxieties. Even Arjuna, the great Pandava warrior, was succumbed to these predicaments. His egocentric perception was he considered himself as the best warrior in Bharatvarsha, and his result-related anxiety was what would happen to his image if the best warrior cannot win the war. In fact, on the very first day of the Mahabharata war, when he saw Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya and Karna, the undefeatable warriors on the other side, he began to get worried. He was worried about losing the battle. He was worried about his image as the best warrior. He sweated, he fretted, he almost fainted, and he stumbled when he spoke to Krishna. Krishna recited Bhagavad Gita and convinced him about the importance of adhering to various dharma. He told him, Nishkama karma, do your duties and responsibilities without expecting any reward. Arjuna was instantly pumped up with adrenaline. If this was the condition of the great warrior Arjuna, you can just imagine a youngster with these predicaments walking into a job market where human beings are classified as human resources manufactured by educational factories that provide courses neither related to the needs of the job market nor to the fulfillment of the students' intrinsic aspirations. He will not find harmony either with his job or with his intrinsic human ends. Add to his agony, even in the job market, he would continue to get assessed, guided, judged, and numerically ranked. His disharmony would continue to get graduated into frustration. I'm sure, like any other youngsters, he also would have been driven by an ambition, because ambition is the driving force for one's future. Therefore, you have to be very practical when you decide on your ambition. Now, I can tell you one small story. It happened in a primary school. Right, the teacher came and asked the little kids, what are your ambitions? Tell me one by one, tell me. Somebody got up and said that I want to be a doctor. Another person said, I want to be an engineer. All sorts of professions started tumbling out. Professor or politician, spiritual guru, all sorts of things. Then came to the turn of Rohit. The Miss asked Rohit, what's your ambition? He said, Miss, I have a great ambition. I want to own 5-6 startup companies. 3-4 luxurious, SUV vehicle, luxury yacht, and probably a private aircraft, and I want to be the richest man in India. Then the turn came to little Lakshmi. Miss asked Lakshmi, what is your ambition? She said, Miss, I'm a very simple person. I'll be very happy if I can become a good housewife. But I have a dream. And my dream is to become Rohit's wife. Now, you all laughed at Lakshmi. Why did you laugh? Because Lakshmi never said that this is her ambition. She said that this is her dream, not ambition. Right. So it's, dreams means it's very natural for all of us to dream. You dream, I dream, all of us dream. And youthful dreams are fantastic, I can tell you. Youthful dreams are fantastic. And you should dream, right? Because dreams after dreams after dreams emerges the real ambition in your life. And that is the thing you have to start working on. Now, okay, I have taken all of you to a hopeless futuristic scenario. I also have given you enough material for you to blame your parents, your teachers, and the society for all your future failures. Are you happy now? Because you have enough materials. You can start blaming your parents, blame your teachers, blame your society, right? All your failures. Are you happy now? I know you are not, right? I'm sure you want something else from your life. It's not blaming others. You want something else. Is it success or failure? Tell me, is it success or failure? You are confused. You don't know what you want. It's success, isn't it? It's success. All of us want to be success in your life, right? But tell me, what do you mean by success? Do you have any idea about success? Is it a good job? Is it money, name, fame, be an intellectual, or a spiritual guru, or a combination of all these things? So do you have any idea about success? Dear friends, one thing I can tell you, there is no proper definition for success, as it's a combination of many things which can vary from person to person. And nobody can give you success as an award. Nobody can, you have to achieve it. Right? Therefore, the first thing you should remember is that there is an expiry date for blaming your parents and teachers. There is an expiry date. Right? You have to, somewhere along the line, you have to stop blaming your parents and teachers. The moment you are old enough to take the wheel, responsibility lies with you. Because success is directly proportional to your dedication, the amount of effort and time you put into achieving your ambition. But given all the constraints faced by the youths, you might be driven by a fear of failure, just like Arjuna faced. Quite as much as at the same time, spontaneously, you also will be aspiring for success. So two contradicting feelings. Failure with the sense of failure on one side and the eagerness to achieve something. Right? So it's contradicting. But consider what would have happened if Thomas Edison, while he was doing his research on electricity, if he had been here, if he had stopped all his research, everything, just because there is a sense of failure, the world would have remained dark. So don't be afraid of failure. Instead, embrace it as a necessary step towards success. Today, you are a personality on its way to full blossoming. Your parents and teachers may think that they know who you are, but it will take another 10 to 15 years to discover actually what you are. For example, many decades ago, a young girl who struggled with the basic logistics of her education in one of those remote villages in Odisha is destined to be the President of India. What a great achievement. Who knows what the potential of this university is and who studies in this university now. But the question is, as a student, have you started working on yourself? Do you have any objective? Do you have any dreams? Do you have any ideas? Has there been a person or a book, an event in your life that has motivated you deeply? I'm quite positive as you study history, you must have been impressed by the compassion of Lord Buddha, by the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda, by the integrity of Mahatma Gandhi, by the dedication of Subhash Chandra Bose, and by the academic determination of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Dear friends, ambition, determination, responsibility and dedications are the virtues which cannot be measured and no one can give them to you. Your academic grades in your university examinations may or may not be a true index of your true potential. You may not have awakened yet, and you may not have awakened yet. And so, be firm with yourself and be patient with yourself. No man has a greater battle than the conquest of himself. However, mind you, this battle is not as easy as I try to philosophize. As we all know that the human beings have been struggling to conquer themselves for ages and ages. And man is responsible and has always been responsible for the destruction of his own civilization in different ages. This is because man has always been guided by a veritable, vicious circle of limitless greed, hatred, intolerance, and revenge, and his mental refinement and moral culture have been completely neglected. They have not at all kept pace with the material advancement. There is a total imbalance between the material advancement and the cultural refinement of human beings. This imbalance does not confine itself to the individual levels only. The whole nation is struggling, the whole world is struggling. But that is the reality of the world. You have to accept it. You cannot change the realities of the world. That is the realities of the world. So you are getting into the next step of your life. You have to accept the reality of the world, and to the realities you have to swim through. Right? And that has been the reality since Ramayana and Mahabharata days. Dear friends, the turmoil of the world should not be an excuse for you to be defunct. You have to survive in this world. You have to thrive in this world. But mind you, success alone is not a guarantee for that survival. Success can be deceptive. Moreover, it can be a transient satisfactions and dissatisfactions. In most cases, Lakshmi would follow with Alakshmi. So success can follow sometimes, maybe some of the failures in your life. So be careful about it. Therefore, the crux of the matter is how to find an equilibrium between these transient satisfactions and dissatisfaction. The answer is simple, though difficult to practice. Accept your realities. Harmonize your purusharthic compulsions and be contented with what you have, what you possess, and what you are. So contentment, the harmony is the key factor. Now I'll conclude my talk with a small story once again. Right. There was a petty king in one of the rural areas, and he went for hunting. One day he went for hunting, and accidentally, not accidentally, deliberately, he killed a pig, right? The moment the pig was killed, the pig's wife, Mrs. Pig, ran and came, and she started crying with the children, all piggy children came and, started weeping and crying and said that, look here, you killed the only breadwinner in the family, right? And I curse you. Right now, how we are going to survive? I curse you. One of these days, my curse is going to, affect you, and you are going to turn yourself as a pig. Right? The petty king was worried. He came back home. Then he called his son and told him, son, look here, there was a curse like this, and I am afraid, sometimes that might happen. Right? So if that happens, please, right, you come to the jungle, search for me, and kill me. Because I don't want to live like a dirty pig, untidy pig in a pigsty. How do you expect me, I have been a king, how do you expect me to, live in a jungle, with all the pigs? So you do it, right? As Mrs. Pig cursed, the curse happened. One day, he turned out to be a pig. He ran into the jungle. Then the family members were worried. The son took his bow and arrow, went to the jungle, searched for the father, and he searched for a few weeks. Ultimately, he located the father, like a pig. He took his bow and arrow, and he was about to kill the father. Then the father turned around and said, hold on, right? Please don't kill me. Right? Then he called two of his piggy wives and children. Right? So, and he said that, look here, these are my families. I have two wives and the children. And I'm very, 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 very happy here. So please don't kill me. So the moral of the story is, wherever you are, whatever you have, right, and whatever your personality is, be contented with it. Contentment is the harmony of your life. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, it may not be on the speech, maybe on the foreign relations of Sri Lanka, or political side, I'm willing to answer, provided the time permits.
Thank you, sir. But yes, any questions, please? Come on, students, this is your opportunity. If you want to ask for future opportunities related to education and how the things, especially related to Sri Lanka, please. Any volunteer? I can see one hand.
Hello, sir. So, here goes my question. How can we accompany the Sri Lankan students?
Your name and program.
So, myself, Niranjan Murray. I am from BTech Computer Science Engineering Department. So, once again, I repeat my question. How can we accompany the Sri Lankan students?
No, but when you say that accompany, you mean to say that how do we get some of the students to come and study? No, in fact, this is not my first visit to the university. In fact, I had a visit earlier. I had a visit at the engineering college, and I had a long discussion with Dr. Girish Desai and all. And I should say that I should be thankful to Cambridge Institute, because that time Girish Desai has offered us 10 scholarships for the Sri Lankan students. Right? In Sri Lanka, normally, like I was telling you, Vice Chancellor also, we get around 275,000 students pass out of their advanced level, that is your pre-degree, right, advanced level. And out of that, only 170 or 175,000 get into the Sri Lankan universities. because we have all the universities are run by the government, and I think there are around 14, 15, no Shinani, how many universities? 20 or 21 universities. Yeah, universities are there all over Sri Lanka, but it's, the criteria of getting into Sri Lankan universities are very difficult. This is, I'm talking about the government schools. Then we have different schools called international schools that is normally patronized by the elite students. And for those students who study in international schools, they cannot get into the local universities. So what they do is they go abroad. And our first priority destination used to be UK, but now I think Australia is overtaking, like Canada, various parts of, even Malaysia is catching up. Right? India, very few students come, I should say that very few students come. Most of the students who come here are on scholarship given by the CCR scholarships. But I noticed one thing, some conservative families, traditional families, they prefer to send their girls to India because of the cultural similarities. But now I should say that, because you all know that, many people have been asking me about this crisis, economic crisis in Sri Lanka, and how safe is Sri Lanka and all. That also I should say that we had some crisis. I agree that. I accepted that we had some crisis. But it was mostly economic crisis. Right? It was not like, the media trying to project it as a big chaos in Sri Lanka. No. That was economic crisis, and more specifically I should say that was foreign currency crisis. And how we got into this foreign currency crisis was, our economy is a small economy. It's only $84 billion, right? Our GDP, if you look at GDP, is $84 billion, right? So we had $8 billion reserves. But unfortunately for us, what happened was with the COVID pandemic, that our nation was one of the nations initially started with intensive lockdown. I mean, 3 or 4 months, I should say that, I'm proud to say that our first phase, our casualty was only 3 deaths. And immediately our government, the moment vaccination was invented, our government gave all of us 2 doses of vaccination. And all important. That is Pfizer from America, all important. Right? But you know that our basic economy is mostly tourism, then repatriation by the Sri Lankans. There are so many Sri Lankans working abroad, the money they send. So the foreign currency sources, basically these two. Then of course there are some exports like garments and things like that. But these 2 major sources were drained down because of the pandemic situation, because all the Sri Lankans working abroad, they had to come back. The tourism was nil, and with the intention, our government's intention was give vaccination to all the people, make COVID free, and encourage tourism, and let the people, we gave priority to the life rather than the economy. With that, what happened was little by little, the foreign exchange crisis, the crisis set in, it got drained out. It affected the supply chain of all the imported items, and we could not import petrol, some pharmaceutical, because our pharmaceutical, I should say that 70 to 80% of the pharmaceuticals are imported. Right? So we could not import it. And that was the time there were a lot of demonstrations and all, and that was the time the media, especially the Indian media and all, talking about starvation and all, Sri Lanka failed nation and all sorts of, trying to project in all sorts of ways. Okay? Because of that, even now I should say that the foreign currency, that liquidity issue has not been sorted out. But we restored, all our supply chains have been restored. But the Sri Lankan rupee got devalued. Because of that, now many students are reluctant to go to the European countries because it's expensive, right? When it comes to the payment in dollars. And I know that now many students are thinking in terms of coming down to India, right? Which we had a discussion with Dr. Girish Desai about, and I understand that Girish Desai would be proceeding to Sri Lanka very soon. So we had some mechanism being worked out, and hopefully I think probably next year if I happen to be in Mumbai and they invite me to come and speak to you once again, hopefully I'll be able to address some Sri Lankan students. Right.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure in talking with you.
Good afternoon, sir. Myself Prerna Kalam from MBA School of Marketing. So I wanted to ask, since you have studied in India as well, so are our study patterns same as in Sri Lanka?
I should say that it is both more or less a British-oriented system, and I should say that it was mostly exam-oriented system. But I should say that, I should not be saying this one, but I remember, when I was doing my university degree, right, up to school days, no. School days, your parents, mother, all seniors will come and force you to sit and work. So 5:30 in the morning, you wake up, they make you a cup of coffee with a little bit of ghee in it and make you to sit and study. The moment we got our freedom, that is advanced level, the pre-degree, I was in a hostel, right? And I was involved with all sorts of faculty, the student activities, including politics, cricket, politics, drama, all sorts of things. And what we used to do is that time, right, just before the examination, 2 months before the examination, you get some ready-made books, ready-made guides rather, and we call it, I know that it comes from Andhra Pradesh, from Gundur. We jokingly say that Gundur guides, right? We buy those Gundur guides, 2 months intensive study, and that also I should say that for my BCom, except accounts and income tax. Accounts and income tax where mostly on a lot of figures and calculations and things like that. Otherwise, all the other subjects like economics, economic development, banking, auditing, everything. We used to have essay system. We used to have options. Like 8 essays will be given, and you are supposed to answer only 5 of them. So that means 60% of the syllabus. Okay. So what we do is we choose 60% of the syllabus, focus on Google guides, and used to get, I was almost BCom, I should say that I was 14th or 15th rank in the Calicut University, right? Because of this method. But right after that, I worked for 2.5 years, places like Hong Kong and all. Then I got into my MBA, that is in Asian Institute of Management, Manila. That was American-oriented system, and that was, I should say that was constituted by Harvard University. And when I was doing that, I was talking about the early 80s. We used to have a lot of Harvard professors, even from IIM also we used to have some professors. And that was 100%, 95% case study method. Right? We found it difficult, because no exams. Your grade, 95% of the grade based on the day-to-day participation in the classroom. How do you perform in the class? Right? And some professors sometimes give you some exam, that also written analysis of a case. And that also they will give you 24 hours or 12 hours. You can go to the library, you can refer your book, but you do your analysis, you make your case proper and write your report. Okay? And more than that, there I found it very difficult because day-to-day performance means you should know how to stand on your feet, you should know how to think on your feet, and you should know how to articulate your thinking, right? And I feel that initially, I was the only Sri Lankan student that time, but we had around, around 20-25 Indian students, mostly from IIT. So I used to be part of that group. Initially, we used to be very critical of that system. But now, I feel that the moment I came out, I feel that that is the system which made me as a man. I could think, I could observe, I should say that maybe because of MBA special training, I could observe things, I can grasp things, I can analyze things, I can conceptualize, take what are the important things into this one. And that has been helpful even in my diplomatic life. And I don't know, you are MBA, I don't know how you are doing it, whether it is case study method or theoretical, but there is a drawback for that, right? Because 2 years, compulsory 2 years you are supposed to be in the campus, right? and intensive, sort of a thing. They say that the workload graph starts like this and goes up to the second year, right? Because every day you have to prepare, every day you have to be in the class and the professor will call you sometimes, come and present the case or what is your view on this one and that is and all. So yeah, so that time you can't stumble, right? But the problem with that one was, within 2 years, we had analyzed around, I should say that around 450 cases, and all these analyses, all these decision-making processes have been done at the CEO's level, right? At the CEO's, at the top level, at the management level. But as an MBA, the moment you pass out, you are not going to be the CEO of a company, right? You are going to be recruited as a, I remember my first job was in HSBC as a management trainee, and I was frustrated. I started teaching my bosses, and they did not like, because I tried to analyze everything from the top management point of view. Right? Then I resigned. Then I got a job in Australia, There I thought that I was selling oil and grease. Then I thought that, what is this? I'm supposed to be, CEO level man, every day taking a kit and, going and meeting factory owners and people like that and, and teaching them how to use soil and lubricants. So I thought that I will be good for nothing other than this one. Then I resigned that job. Then came. Now, anyway, I'm here, I ended up in this one. And if you ask me whether I'm happy with job, okay. Because contentment, I can talk about it, but it's very difficult.
Thank you.
Very well articulated. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Faisal. I study in MBA School of Management.
Silence, please. Silence, please.
I wanted to ask you a question about job opportunities in Sri Lanka as an English student moving out in Sri Lanka to pursue a job.
We have, in spite of all the adverse reports we had in the Indian media during that crisis time, right? Even I know that collectively, they was, Sri Lanka was projected as a failed nation, okay? But one thing I will tell you, there are 65 major Indian companies, 65 major big companies from India, from Mumbai, oriented, all big boys. Not 65, 65 Indian companies have invested in 35 major sectors in Sri Lanka. And there are 2,000 to 3,000 Indian senior executives living in Sri Lanka, 2,000 to 3,000. And I should say that our hospitality sector, there are a lot of Indians working there. I think Surasri knows that. Every day we issue around, 6-7 visas, almost 7-8 visas, all going and working in Indian, the hotel sector. So the one way of, coming into this one is whoever invest in Sri Lanka, through those companies you can come in. But the Sri Lankan companies, even we also can recruit it, Suppose if there is a vacuum, there is no enough people to apply for a job, then we can recruit it. But not many, after all we are an island nation. And you know that most of the island nations, their inclination is, to migrate, go abroad. Right? So they will be happy to go abroad. Now one little area I can tell you, the domestic workers. Right? Because we all got used to, I should say that I'm not trying to be elitist, but we all got used to a certain amount of domestics at your home. But now in Sri Lanka, in spite of the fact that we are willing to pay 50,000-60,000 Sri Lankan rupees for a domestic, still you can't get it. So there is a huge vacuum there. There is a huge vacuum. You know why? Because our people are very happy. The thing is this. It is 65,640 square kilometers Sri Lanka. And we have only 22 million population. And 22 million is population is as good as Mumbai population. Mumbai 604 square kilometer, within that 22 million people, and within our case 65,000 square kilometer, we have 22 million people. So everybody is more or less self-sufficient. Right? If they go to their rural areas, they have a property, they have few coconut trees, some jackfruit trees, right? And probably one more thing I'd like to tell you, maybe because of Buddhism. Right, I should say that Buddhism is a blessing given to us by India. Maybe because of Buddhism, in all our activities, that you can see it in our weddings, our culturally, in our festivities, right? I'm not a Buddhist, I'm a Hindu, but still, I'm an observer of culture. Right? We have a lot of simplicity. So the aspiration of people also very simple aspirations. And because of that, they are very happy, even if they are rural areas, villages, they are very happy. Right? So there are opportunities now coming, especially now with all these, like Dr. Bhadraj said, like there are a lot of agreements have been signed now. So there are a lot of sectors being opened up now. Right? So there are opportunities coming up. And also now, I think Shirani knows about it. Now she's working on it. She's part of that, the people who work on. Now we have a free trade agreement between India and Sri Lanka, right? That is going to be graduated into ECTA. And the ECTA now, they are going to liberalize, open up the service sector. Okay, service sector. So that means Sri Lankans will be able to come and work in India, and Indians also will be able to come and work in Sri Lanka. And mind you, don't go by the Indian media. Don't go by the Indian media, because you would love Sri Lanka the moment you go, you start working. I know that all the people, most of the people who come and end up in Sri Lanka, they don't want to come back. I know that last March, I have taken few of my local staff, the staff from Maharashtra or Indian staff. I have taken 6 or 7 of them to Colombo, Sri Lanka, and they were happened to be 2 girls, right, 2 young ladies. Right. We went there, and they were slightly, slightly amazed, fascinated sort of an approach. And the second day, I was overhearing these 2 girls whispering to each other and asking each other, what will be the salary scale here? Whether we can get a job here. Right? So you have to go and witness it. The proof of the pudding is in eating, not on the media. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So, big round of applause. So, here we have come to an end of today's program. So, on behalf of Pimpri-Chinchwad University, I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. Vasan Vaturi, Consul General of Sri Lanka, and his colleagues for sparing time for our students and motivated them for the future opportunities. A moment of silence, please. Students, please. A moment of silence. Well appreciated, please. Today, sir has given very beautiful 2 mantras for life, which are very good major takeaways. First is contentment is harmony, and the person himself or herself is responsible for his or her destruction or maybe success. Thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I would also like to thank our Trust and Executive Director, Dr. Girish Desai sir, for their continuous support in the growth of the university. I extend my thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Manimala Madam, and respected Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajiv sir, for their leading from front kind of a behavior and perseverance kind of a attitude for the growth of the university in learnings and tools. I would like to thank and mention the name of Mr. Sahil from PCET, the one who has really arranged for this kind of a meeting and many more to come. Thank you so much. In the end, I would also like to thank the major supporters for this program, the marketing as well as the digital team, Mr. Zamir, Mr. Rohan and their team, the backbone, the registrar office and sir's team, IT office, the HODs and the students for such an enthusiastic kind of a participation. So thank you one and all once again. I know you all are hungry, but please, as a matter of etiquette as well as decorum, Please, don't leave the hall till the dignitaries are here. Please.